Hello, happy Wednesday. We'll get the dance going while we wait for the live confirmation. I don't really know what dance this is, but we'll call it the jig, the Facebook jig. Okay, so we got the fan on because here in San Diego, it's smoking hot. How about for you? Let me know. Drop in the comments. We're having a heat wave. Um, which I just taught a yoga class, and it's wonderful to help loosen up the fascia, get it moving, right? That sort of thing. So, what do you like to do to take advantage of the heat to help your body? I know some of you, the heat is not your friend, but it can be. Okay, so let's get started on the more serious stuff. Today, I'm going to be talking about how long does it take to heal? I get this question all the time in the office, in my online programs. I get hardworking adults, entrepreneurs, busy moms, and they just want to get back to their stuff. They just want to get back on the yoga mat. They want to start pushing themselves again. They want to get back to training for their half marathons, their marathons. They want to get outside and garden or golf again. Whatever it may be for you, I think as a busy adult, right? As a someone with a to-do list, we just want to put it on the list and say, okay, 6 weeks for this back pain to heal, or 4 weeks for these weird knots in my neck and shoulders to go away. I'll do the stuff. It's going to take that long. I'm going to invest that money. Go, right? And then what happens is the 4 weeks comes around the corner, or the 6 weeks comes around the corner, and you're not fully healed, and you're like, WTF? What went wrong? Body, why do you forsake me? So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on, right? Because it's actually based on a multitude of factors. So this week in the podcast, I go over this in a bit more detail. It's a complement to this. If you have the podcast episode nearby and want to drop that in the link in the comments for me, that would be helpful. Otherwise, I'll pick it up and drop it in when we finish here. So there, in the body, four different structures. For example, if it's a ligament thing, a tendon thing, a disc in the neck or the low back, uh, menisci, a labrum, there's a certain amount of time on average that's required to heal. So, for example, you break a bone. On average, it's going to take 6 to 10 weeks to heal. If you think about it, if any one of you broke a bone, comment below. How long were you in a boot or cast? On average, 6 to 10 weeks, right? And then you go to the doctor, they take it off, you slowly start to get back movement and strength. However, some of you also know that that was not the right amount of time because it didn't heal fully. Some of you had to go back in the boot. Some of you had to get recasted again. And it's not anything typically that you've done wrong. Okay, some of you maybe tried to push it, didn't stay in the boot when you were supposed to. I know because you tell me. Sometimes we can slow our own healing, right? So let's take that example of someone getting themselves out of the boot or taking the cast, if it's a splint off, that sort of thing. The question is, why did you do that? Usually there's a thought driving that action, right? Can't take this any longer. It's just one moment. I'm just going to do this one thing and then I'll get back in. And then 5 things later, we're still out of the boot, right? So, as a busy person, someone with a to do list a mile long, there's a couple philosophies that can really help to aid your healing, right? Because there's a lot of variables that go into healing, such as diet, such as stress, such as those thoughts, those sneaky thoughts that tell us to get out of the boot when we should be in the boot, for example. Or for our low back, pushing ourselves in a yoga class when we know that we should be holding back, or going for a run when we haven't quite healed. That can really delay our length of time for healing because the body, whether it gets good blood supply or doesn't, or just the nature consistency of the structure of the tissue, how it's made anatomically, usually requires 6 months, 12 months. Sometimes discs, nerves can take you even longer, 6 months to a year. It doesn't mean that you have to be suffering the whole time. The best thing to do to allow patience to occur, right, for this healing process is to take a step back. And number one, journal. Journal it out. What are your thoughts on healing? What are your fears? What's keeping you up at night? Because sometimes if you can bring those to the surface, highlight them, then it eases that pressure to get back to doing whatever you want to do quickly or forcing it too soon. For example, that's one way. Sometimes you just need to relax and let go, especially as entrepreneurs, right? We want results for our actions. We do take action and there's a consequence for it. Usually we want the positive result, or a hardworking adult, or a mom, busy parent. If we're going to instill certain principles to our kids, discipline them, that sort of thing, we want to see the consequence of them behaving well or making good choices, quote unquote, good, being uh, opinionated, right? However, we don't always have complete control. We might have an expectation of what our body should do, the length of time that we think is required to heal. I put in 3 months. I invested $2,000. It should be healed by now. Who decided that? Who made up those rules? They're arbitrary. If you stop and think about it, you're the one that made up the rules. And I tell this on the podcast, my story of how I had an expectation that my daughter should be going to kindergarten back in August. She didn't go. That's not the reality. The dream or the story I created in my head of her going to kindergarten full time, it was just that. It was just a story. It's not reality. So sometimes our expectations or our stories we create that, okay, I'll take a break from running for 3 months and then I'll be healed. And when the 3 months hit and you're not healed fully, it can be a huge letdown. And then you get really mad and frustrated. And those emotions are a normal part of the healing process. It's okay for them to be there. However, we don't want to use them to beat ourselves up, beat our body up, because that's going to slow the process down even more. Tara Brach calls this the second arrow of the heart. We need to learn how to process those emotions, let go of the expectations of what is required to heal, and be open to the possibility that, yes, maybe you'll heal faster. Maybe you'll also heal slowly. And that's okay. That's all how it should be. The problem is it's super uncomfortable. And I think anyone that's gone through a growing process, whether you're an entrepreneur, CEO, an employee, a parent, you know growing and evolving is very uncomfortable because it takes us out of our normal patterns, our normal thoughts of being. We have to try something new, some things work, some things don't work. Eventually we get it. When we move forward, we up level ourselves or level up ourselves. And then guess what? We get to go through the discomfort again, new problem. We don't apply this philosophy to our bodies at times. It's like we don't have, as a busy adult, we run out of tolerance for discomfort when it comes to our health and wellness for some reason, especially when it comes to stress or body's aches and pains. We just kind of throw our arms up in the air and it's like, geez, one more thing I got to deal with, you know? However, here's your work for this week. How can you increase your tolerance for handling discomfort in terms of your health and wellness? So what does that mean for you? I don't know, because it really depends on what's going on. It could have to do with how you manage stress. It could have to do with your ability to respect your time boundaries that you create for yourself, or boundaries just with relationships. It could have to do with being patient in terms of pushing yourself in fitness and so forth. There's many ways that externally in life this can really manifest. But the broader or more open your mind is in terms of your capacity to heal, your tolerance for accepting discomfort, and willingness to go with the flow with listening to your body, trial and error, and just being patient as it heals, no matter how long it takes, right? If the first practitioner didn't work, trying again. Knowing that they're all steps in the process to healing. If you don't give up, you will get there. No matter what Western medicine says, no matter what your neighbor or best friend says, you will get there. It just might take a little longer than you thought. Okay? All right. So, couple next steps for you. I have a workshop this Saturday through Yoga Del Mar. It's online, so if you can't make it live, no worries. There's a replay. I'll also drop the link to register in the comments. You can get registered. It's on the low back and sciatica. I have a video in here. Katrina and I just recorded it yesterday. There's so much heightened stress right now, and for whatever reason, I'm getting so many wellness assessments of people just have like very severe sciatic pain and issues going on right now. So super common. Even if you feel that it's not a debilitating issue right now, it's just on the radar just a little bit. It's better to take action now than be forced to urgently later with less choices. So you learn a lot for your low back, yoga practice techniques to create space, traction off the nerve, the discs. So get registered. Of course, you can always sign up for the wellness assessment. I think I have 1 or 2 spots left this week. If you can't find them in the calendar, just DM me. I'll get you in. If not, you're going to have to wait till next week or the week after. But we'll work on uncovering the root source of your issue and develop a plan to get you onto your health and wellness, right? So we can talk about all this, what's really needed for you to fully heal. Even if you saw another practitioner before, I guarantee it's not a waste of your time because I can utilize that information and we'll just take it to the next step. Okay? So that's what I have for you this week. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I'll drop those links in the comments. Bye for now.